Tank carries the power. He's sneaky. Explosive.
Sets traps, and he's got ridiculous one-punch knockout power, too. He's just such an interesting fighter because his style is so different from everybody else. He's so conservative in the early rounds, throws so few punches, and he lets you work. He lets you work, and you're backing up, and you're always afraid of that power, and he's just moving in, trying to find that opening where he just gets in there on you.
Nah, I'm not shocked. I mean, his last fight when he fought LeBron, Jake Paul was at the fight. He told y'all he was going to fight somebody like Jake Paul, so I'm not shocked. It don't surprise me, so.
Joe Rogan has delivered a serious warning to Jake Paul ahead of his upcoming showdown with Gervonta "Tank" Davis. Speaking on his podcast, Rogan made it clear that this fight is unlike anything Paul has faced before. He praised Jake for his work ethic and clear improvements in boxing, but emphasized that Tank is on another level entirely. With devastating knockout power, elite speed, and high-level ring intelligence, Davis represents a real threat. Rogan stressed that if Paul approaches this as just another celebrity fight, he could be in for a brutal and dangerous wake-up call.
Boxing has gone too far. Jake Paul is taking on Gervonta "Tank" Davis in an exhibition bout this November. The fight will be taking place in Atlanta between the cruiserweight and the 135-pounder. Nearly a 100-pound difference between the two guys. This is absolutely insane. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below.
Joe Rogan has often praised Gervonta "Tank" Davis's devastating knockout power, even comparing it to a smaller version of Mike Tyson. On his podcast with comedian Ali Sadiq, Rogan broke down Davis's 7th-round knockout of Ryan Garcia, marveling at his ability to unleash tremendous force despite his compact build. Rogan noted that Davis doesn't appear physically imposing, yet his aggressive fighting style and deceptive strength make him one of the most intimidating fighters in boxing today.
Gervonta fan. I think that guy's so unusual.
Yeah.
His style's so unusual, and it's like patience.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Leo Santa Cruz fight was really something for me because Leo Santa Cruz is a technician. He's great, Mexican style, but he's also a technician. And that fight was very close before Tank stopped him.
Yeah.
But he has that power that can end it.
Well, he finds these openings, and he sees them, but he doesn't go after them right away. He waits for the right time. He's so patient.
Right.
Like when you watch the early rounds of his fights, he's like at a world champions that are competing today at the highest level. He probably has the lowest punch count in the early rounds.
Yeah.
Because he's just wait, but he also knows he's got that nuclear option that if he can fucking crack you, most likely he's going to take you out. He's got massive confidence in that. I like watching someone who's exceptional at it. Where it's just like the technique is so dialed in.
Yeah.
You know, there's guys that like Gervonta Davis is like that. Their technique's so dialed in that when you watch them uncork, it's like, oh my God, the efficiency of it. And so I was just a giant fan of the guy. I just loved as a person who like really enjoyed technique. I like watching someone who's exceptional at it.
Although Joe Rogan believes Jake Paul is not yet ready to face elite professionals like Gervonta "Tank" Davis, he has still given Paul significant credit for his accomplishments in boxing. Rogan has described Paul's ability to navigate a celebrity-driven sport as nothing short of genius, recognizing him as a legitimate boxer who earns massive paydays while showcasing real skill. According to Rogan, Paul has proven he's more than just a YouTuber, displaying ring IQ, discipline, and smart self-promotion that keep him relevant. Still, Rogan remains realistic, acknowledging the entertainment-driven spectacle that surrounds Paul's rise in the sport.
But is this Logan Paul? Is he a legitimate boxer?
A legitimate boxer, yes. People mocked me when I was saying that before, but now I think people are coming around. And the way I look at it, I say, if this kid was not a YouTuber, if he wasn't some guy that you knew from the time he was like 16 years old on YouTube, and you just saw him box, and you saw him knock out former UFC champions, you saw him beat legitimate boxers, or beat athletes, and beat a bunch of MMA fighters, you'd go, this kid can fucking fight. He knows how to fight. Like, it's not, nothing he's doing looks wrong. He's not like sticking his head straight up in the air and winging punches with his eyes closed. He's fighting well. He looks good. And if he was just an up-and-coming boxer that was this exciting, like highly promotable, like really good at selling fights, you'd be like, this kid's the future. He's really something special. If Jake Paul wasn't Jake Paul, if he wasn't this YouTube guy, he was just a boxer, and you see a boxer knock out the former UFC welterweight champion, not just the former, but one of the best ever, knock him out with one punch like that, like, oh man, have you seen this Jake Paul dude coming up? He's fucking for real. Because nothing about watching him fight, to me, screams like he's in over his head. Nothing. He looks like a real boxer.
Much of the fight's intrigue comes from the stark physical contrast between the two men. Jake Paul, at 6 feet 1 inch and around 199 pounds, usually fights in the cruiserweight division. Gervonta Tank Davis, on the other hand, stands just 5'5" 1/2 and typically weighs 135 pounds as the reigning WBA lightweight champion. This nearly 60-pound weight gap has sparked debates about both fairness and safety. Still, the bout is set, with Paul agreeing to slim down to 195 pounds to make the exhibition more balanced.
Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis is official. A lightweight takes on a heavyweight, a bit insane, a big size difference, but also a speed difference. I want to talk about this fight, get my picks and predictions for how it's going to play out, and basically just let's run it. So the only combat sports fight I can think of off the top of my head that was similar in the size disparity is Buckley versus Rizabuyov. Now look at these guys. Buckley is 5'6", I believe 5'7". Rizabuyov is 6'5". It just looks ridiculous. Jake Paul, it says 6'1", but I think he's more like 6'2". He's a big fucking dude. 76-inch reach. Well, Gervonta's only 5'5", with a 9-inch reach disadvantage on Jake Paul. 9-inch reach. You're having a laugh, bud. But she's not all about size, boys. As Buckley showed against Rizabuyov, speed is a factor, and these little guys can move. Buckley actually won this fight on points. A lot of jabs to the body, overhand right, on repeat. Rinse and repeat, use your speed, get out of range. When you're in range, you're hitting the body, hitting up top. When you're out of range, you're just moving around and keeping the big man moving. And I do see this going a similar way. Now, I'm not a Jake Paul hater by any means. I actually think he's pretty decent. But just the size difference, I mean, he weighs almost 100 pounds more than Gervonta. I mean, he is going to be a lot slower. And Jake isn't the most explosive and the quickest guy. I mean, like I said, I'm no Jake Paul hater. I actually think he's pretty good. He's got power, a lot of power. But he's just not that quick, and Gervonta is very fucking quick. Now there is no way in the world Gervonta Davis finishes Jake Paul. You cannot pay me enough on that pick. But Gervonta Davis on points, I think is basically signed, sealed, delivered. It's going to be jab to the body, move, jab to the body, and move. And jab to the body again and move. It's all it's going to be. So if you're paying for this fight, I mean, I think it's on Netflix, so most of us should be locked and loaded, but if you've got any way to pay for this one, don't even bother. It's going to be boring as fuck. It's going to be Gervonta jabbing the body and Jake Paul missing overhands. That's what this fight's going to be, and it's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be 120 to 100 in favor of the little man. 5'5", 63-inch reach, Gervonta Tank Davis.
For Gervonta Davis, the greater risk lies in reputation rather than physical harm. Losing to Jake Paul, who holds a 12-1 record but lacks deep professional experience, could damage his standing among boxing purists. For Paul, however, the upside is enormous. Defeating an undefeated champion would skyrocket his credibility and exposure. Still, the matchup has faced criticism. Some, including Ryan Garcia, question its legitimacy, comparing it to scripted wrestling rather than authentic competition. Garcia openly mocked the idea of Davis bulking to nearly 195 pounds, calling it delusional, and warned that boxing is sliding towards spectacle over sport. He argued the emphasis has shifted from competition to popularity-driven money fights, eroding boxing's integrity. Despite the controversy, the bout is set to capture massive attention, with Netflix streaming it live worldwide. Whether viewed as entertainment or genuine contest, the fight represents a shifting blueprint in modern boxing, where marketability increasingly outweighs merit inside the ring.
I think Davis is more to lose because he's the bona fide world champion. I don't care if he's much smaller. I think Jake Paul has sort of plateaued as far as his boxing is concerned. It's rather low level. He's big, he's physical, he's strong, he can hit. So there is that risk. Davis, at lightweight, you're in a moment where it's too physical for you. You can clinch. Against the heavyweight, where you clinch? you ain't getting out of that corner just clinching anymore if you run out of space. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. But Davis, listen, there's a lot of talking points that I'm sure we'll get into when this gets closer to the fight. Davis can still punch a lightweight. Can he drop a heavyweight? You know, there's a lot to gain there, right? If Davis knocks...
The answer is yes.
If Davis drops Jake on his ass, as much as Davis is the one with more to lose, it's still a highlight moment.
A visual that will stay forever.
Yeah, but if you get dropped, even if you're smaller, you're still a world champion in multiple weight classes. If you get dropped, you know, what's the look? What's the feel? On the inside, as boxers, me and Chris Algieri, the champ, even you, Jim, you have fight experience, so we know that the risk is a big guy that big hits you, you're probably going down if you're a small guy if he hits you clean. So we know the risk, but how does it look to the public eye who don't understand that? You know what I mean? The public. So there is a lot to lose, though. There's a bit to gain. I wouldn't necessarily have an issue with this had Davis's career arc been one that benefited boxing. Davis was manufactured and put into a position where he's supposed to benefit boxing, and I don't think he has. I think he's hurt boxing. So by giving him this reward, that's my problem. Why are we watching this? Why don't you make him earn his spot that he still hasn't earned, mind you?
All right, so it looks like it's official that Jake Paul is going to be fighting Tank Davis. So pretty crazy considering Jake Paul is 6'1", 220 walking around, and Tank Davis is 5'5", I think he's 140 walking around. So we're talking about 80-pound weight difference and then 8 inches of height. You know, everyone's been telling Jake Paul that he needs to fight real fighters in their prime, and Gervonta Tank Davis is in his prime and one of the best fighters out there, but this is just ridiculous. Let me know what you...
What's your take on Jake Paul facing Gervonta Tank Davis despite the massive weight gap? Share your opinions and reactions in the comments below.